So, in 1986, 80, throughout the time in 87, the band was going through different singers. At one point, they almost thought about getting Rhett Forrester to sing for them. They've had many ones. Even a former singer of Forced Entry was even asked to sing for this band. I know there was another one that I was thinking that was on my tip of my mind, but just left. But of course, they then really settle with a former singer of Razor White, title named Phil Anselmo. And of course, this ends up, solidifying the classic Pantera lineup with Phil Anselmo on vocals, Dimebag Darrell on guitar, Rex Brown on bass, and Vinnie Paul. You know what? I think I accidentally said Vinnie Appice on the other video, which I fucking I am sorry for. That was fucking stupid of me. But Vinnie Paul, of course, on drums. So with that, they release Power Metal 1988. Yes, I had to take a breather after that because I just realized that I kind of made a fuck up on that video. So, with that, what's different with this album? Of course, Mark Ferrari is still on this album. He still produces the album alongside Jerry Abbott. But the album starts up at Rock the World. Definitely right from the bat. Really has that pre-sound, and you definitely rarely throughout the sound you hear a bit of that glam sound, because it's kind of just it fades away, and it's definitely due to Phil Anselmo being in the band. This song definitely pre-sounding. Of course, we start to hear Phil Anselmo's what he's capable of, and what a fucking great singer. It's like he's mostly known for his macho screaming-esque singing, but here he's actually a really decent, really good melodic singer. He's definitely got some good pipes, definitely. Just a really good singer nonetheless, and he just fucking adds to this track. And then we get to the title track, which we start to hear more of Dimebag Darrell's guitar work. And where he starts to really stretch more of his muscle and all of a sudden. This is just a really killer riff. Just definitely really keeping up the... It's definitely a speed metal song, but it's definitely got that US power metal sound. This is definitely a killer riff and a killer song. Of course, with Phil Anselmo still providing more of his work. And of course, one thing that I really like about this sound is that Vinnie Paul's drum sound isn't so fucking dated sounding. No longer has that fucking really almost mechanical sort of electric drum set sound. It doesn't have any of that, really cheesy drum sound that was provided on I Am the Night, which is one thing that makes the sound even better than I Am the Night. And of course, we get to We'll Meet Again, which is more of a slower track. At times, it doesn't really go into ballad, because it's not really a ballad. It isn't. It's just a more emotional track that kind of reminds me a bit of Shock Paris. Definitely something that I would hear on like Steel and Starlight. Or maybe some of the tracks off of like Leatherwolf's albums. This is definitely a really good track as well, with also Phil Anselmo providing more of his range. Just another good track. Let me get to Over and Out. Before I also get in that track, Mark Ferrari does provide some guitar solos on We'll Meet Again, especially even fade out stuff as well. So, but Over and Out, which is definitely a bit of a speedy-esque track, is still really good. And of course, it does have still good guitar work, definitely good riffs, and of course, we definitely do get a thrash break within this track, kind of giving you evidence of what was going to come after this album. And we got to Proud to Be Loud, which was actually co-written by Mark Ferrari, and of course, he does provide the rhythm guitar track on this song. It definitely does have that keel sound, but it's done without being too cheesy, it's definitely a upbeat rocker. And it's just another good track. But wait. Down below? Wasn't this on I Am the Night? Yes, it was, but this is a re-recorded version. And this is actually the version that I was introduced to. This is a good track, and for some reason I kind of like this version a bit more because due to Phil Anselmo's approach to the song, it's a little faster as well than the version that was on I Am the Night. Really kind of just speeding up. It's another really good track. Then we get the Death Trap. Oh boy, this is definitely a little more of a thrashier track than on Over and Out. It's definitely really a kind of, this is where they really start to show that blueprint, what was going, that would be used for the album after this. And we get to Hard Ride, which is, again, kind of close to We'll Meet Again, but it's a bit more better. Again, it's not really a ballad. This is just a more melodic, heavy metal track that's still, that kind of reminds me a bit of, the aforementioned bands I did, like Shock Paris, Other Wolf, and so forth. And of course, Phil Anselmo was showing more of his range as well. And we get to Burn, which, this track, obviously they were listening to Free Will Burning by Judas Priest. That's all this sounds like. It's definitely Free Will Burning, just riff changing and everything. It's still a good track. I still like it. But it just sounds a bit like that. Or even at times, even Obsession. Definitely a good track. Then we get to PST 88. Which there's something interesting about this track. Because Dimebag Darrell, or at this time Diamond Darrell, he sings on this track. And he's got a bit of a thrashy singer to him. This track at times kind of reminds me a bit of Metallica. It's like they're definitely listening to that. And, it's definitely got that sound, even like Anthrax, whatever. This is definitely a bit of a, sort of a, definitely like that. It's not a bad song at all. And of course, the track, of course, even though it's titled PST, they did it because of its title Pussy Time. So of course, they're kind of bringing in more of that about girls and partying and such. Not a bad song, nonetheless. Even though the band did embody it even after the album, because obviously both Vinnie Paul and Diamond Darrell, or at the time Dimebag Darrell, would go to strip clubs still. Even during their tough guy days, they would go to strip clubs, so really. Still after this album, of course they would get signed to Actco and would release Cowboys from Hell, and, Vulgar Display of Power. Of course, Cowboys from Hell was produced by Terry Date. So, after all of that, of course with the passing of Dimebag Darrell in 2004, the very tragic death. And then even to this day, with even Phil Anselmo still manages to come back in the news and whatever, and I talked about a video about that. But nonetheless, this still is a good album, and and definitely my favorite from the 80s era of Pantera. This is definitely one of the best. And it's definitely also due to Phil Anselmo, who's definitely a better singer than Terrence Lee. A much better singer, and this album definitely seems to be it really kind of shows the progression of the band. It's like they're kind of showing, at times they're kind of really bringing a bit of a seriousness to the lyrics. It's not as cheesy as many seem to make it out to be, and plus on the Metal Archive, it's actually, when it comes to their 80s stuff, it's definitely one of the highest rating of it. And of course, I still like Cowboys from Hell. There's still some great stuff on there. Vulgar, kind of turning it down a bit. Again, it's my personal taste. Still, this is just a good album. Nonetheless, and one of my favorites. And of course, yes, there's a bootleg copy through Shock Rock. I've had this for years. So until then, and if you have heard Power Metal, what are your thoughts? If you have any thoughts, you can post your comments down below. If you happen to be a huge Pantera fan and want to disagree with me, you can go ahead and do that. So after this, time to go on to the other band. See you later. Take care.